It started like a quiet storm. Nobody saw it coming, yet everyone felt it brewing. Whispers began spreading through the industry, claiming that something had gone down between Lil Meech and Rick Ross. Something so intense that even 50 Cent's old warning suddenly made perfect sense. The tension wasn't just about music or money anymore. It was personal, raw, and full of betrayal. Fans were left stunned as reports started flying in that Lil Meech had allegedly confronted Ross, demanding answers about a deal that went sideways and a friendship that shattered right in front of everyone's eyes. What made this even crazier was how silent Ross had been through it all. No interviews, no posts, no shade, just complete silence. Until now. When Ross finally decided to speak, it wasn't calm or diplomatic. Insiders claim his response had fire, pride, and a touch of pain, as if he knew the world was waiting for him to crack. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, 50 Cent's words from years ago began resurfacing across social media. Ross isn't who you think he is. Now, fans can't stop asking, was 50 Cent right all along? The whole situation began spiraling out of control the moment the video clip surfaced online. It was short, blurry, and shaky, but it was enough to send the internet into a frenzy. People claimed it showed Lil Meech confronting Rick Ross outside a studio in Miami, and the tension was thick enough to slice through. Voices were raised, hands were moving, and it looked like a private conversation that suddenly turned public. Fans who saw it first couldn't believe their eyes. The same two men who once praised each other in interviews were now standing face to face, exchanging words that didn't sound friendly at all. At first, no one knew what triggered it. Rumors began spinning instantly. Some said it was about a broken business promise. Others whispered it was something personal, something deeper than contracts or fame. Whatever it was, the clip ended before anything else could be seen, leaving everyone guessing what happened after those few seconds. People started tagging 50 Cent on social media, flooding his comments with messages like, "You warned him," and "You called it years ago." It felt like the entire hip-hop world was watching this real-life drama unfold, like an episode of a reality show. Behind the scenes, those close to Lil Meech said he had been frustrated for weeks. Apparently, he felt betrayed by people he trusted, and Ross was one of them. He had reportedly opened doors for Meech, guided him through the music game, and talked about loyalty and brotherhood. But according to people close to the situation, something changed. Meech began noticing that Ross was making moves behind his back, deals that somehow affected his name and image. And when he tried to talk about it, things got heated. Ross, on the other hand, seemed to keep his calm. Insiders claimed he didn't want to turn this into a circus, that he had too much to lose. He had built an empire over decades. The music, the businesses, the brand. Being dragged into public beef wasn't part of his plan. Still, the silence only made things worse. The internet interpreted it as guilt, and the headlines kept growing louder by the hour. One fan wrote online, "Ross staying silent means he knows he's wrong," while another defended him, saying, "You can't judge a man based on rumors." But then, a few insiders started hinting that this confrontation wasn't just about business. One producer close to both said, "It was about respect. When that breaks, nothing else matters." The moment the story reached 50 Cent's radar, things took another wild turn. 50, known for never missing a chance to comment on drama, dropped a cryptic post that sent fans into chaos. He didn't tag anyone, didn't mention names, but his words said it all. Some people just don't listen when you try to save them. The internet went crazy. Everyone instantly linked it to the Lil Meech and Ross situation. Memes exploded, clips from old interviews resurfaced, and fans started revisiting that infamous feud between 50 and Ross from years ago. It was like the past had suddenly collided with the present, and the echoes of old rivalries were back to haunt everyone involved. Meanwhile, Lil Meech was quiet, unusually quiet. He didn't post anything, didn't comment, didn't even like a single tweet. That silence made things even more suspicious. Fans wondered if he was being advised to stay quiet or if something more serious had gone down between him and Ross. One insider claimed, "Meech feels like he was used." He thought Ross had his back, but he realized it was all business. That line alone spread across every blog, headline and gossip page like wildfire. And while everyone was busy speculating, Ross was reportedly seen at his mansion in Georgia, surrounded by his team, working on something behind the scenes. Nobody knew if it was a song, a statement, or a calculated response. But people who had worked with him before said, Ross doesn't act out of emotion. He plans his next move like a chess player. The tension kept building. Even artists from their circles started being asked about it in interviews. Some avoided the question, while others hinted they knew more than they could say. One even laughed nervously when asked about the confrontation, saying, "Let's just say not everyone's who they pretend to be." That comment went viral, fueling more theories about betrayal, manipulation, and hidden motives. As the hours turned into days, everyone was waiting for one thing: a statement. Fans wanted to hear it directly from the source, but Ross stayed silent. The only thing that broke the silence was a story he posted, showing himself in the studio, wearing sunglasses, sipping his drink, and writing something in a notebook. No caption, no context, just a calm face and a storm of emotions underneath. It was the kind of subtle move that made people talk even more. By that night, multiple blogs started dropping exclusive reports, claiming they knew what sparked the argument. One claimed Ross had cut Lil Meech out of a joint deal involving endorsements. Another said Ross made a comment behind his back that got leaked. And yet another rumor suggested there was a family element involved. Something about pride, legacy, and public image. Fans didn't know what to believe anymore. The atmosphere was electric. Every new rumor felt more dramatic than the last. People compared it to old rap beefs, calling it a new generation of hip-hop tension. But what made it unique was the emotional layer underneath it. This wasn't about competition or lyrics. It was about trust, loyalty, and disappointment. And somewhere in that chaos, an old clip resurfaced, one from years ago where Ross had praised Lil Meech, calling him a young boss in the making. Hearing those words again, knowing what was happening now, made the whole thing feel even heavier. Fans replayed it thousands of times, commenting how quickly friendships can fall apart in the spotlight. As the story kept unfolding, even people outside the industry began picking sides. Some said Lil Meech was brave for confronting someone so powerful, while others believed he was being emotional, letting anger cloud his judgment. Either way, one thing was clear: this wasn't over. And everyone knew the next move would change everything. The next few days felt like the calm before a storm that everyone knew was coming. Blogs were posting nonstop. Podcasts were dissecting every second of that blurry confrontation clip, and fans flooded social media with opinions, memes, and theories. Still, no official word from either side. It felt like a psychological battle. Who would speak first? Who would break the silence and take control of the story? Then, out of nowhere, a voice memo leaked. It wasn't clear who recorded it, but people were convinced it was from someone inside Ross's circle. In the audio, you could hear two men arguing, one of them sounding eerily like Lil Meech. "You used me, bro," the voice snapped. "You made me believe we were family." The other responded calmly, "It's all love, but this is business." That one sentence, "This is business," was enough to set the internet ablaze. Fans quoted it, remixed it, and even turned it into memes. Everyone believed the voice belonged to Ross, and that made the situation 10 times bigger. Ross's team didn't confirm or deny the audio, which made it worse. Every hour the clip stayed online, the tension grew. Influencers started analyzing the situation like detectives, breaking down tone, background noise, and even the pauses in the voices. One popular creator posted, "You can hear the pain in Meech's voice. This wasn't about money, it was personal." That single line got millions of views and shifted the entire narrative. Now the public saw Meech not as a hot-headed celebrity, but as someone betrayed by someone he trusted. Meanwhile, Ross appeared unbothered, at least publicly. He showed up at an event wearing a massive diamond chain, greeting fans, smiling, and acting like nothing had happened. Paparazzi shouted questions at him, but he ignored every single one. Some people saw that as strength, others called it arrogance. "He's playing the game," one insider commented. Ross knows how to control attention. If he stays quiet, people will keep talking. and that keeps him in the spotlight. But behind the scenes, things weren't as calm. People close to the situation started leaking details. Apparently, Ross felt betrayed too. He had invested in projects with Lil Meech, helped him build a certain image, and then, just as things were taking off, Meech started questioning his motives publicly. Ross reportedly told his team, "After everything I did for him, he's out here acting like I'm the villain?" As this war of perception continued, 50 Cent made his next move. He posted a clip from an old interview where he had warned younger artists to watch who they do business with. Fans immediately tied it to the drama, flooding his comments with laughing emojis and fire icons. 50 didn't confirm it was about Ross, but everyone knew the history between them. It was like he was sitting back, watching it all unfold exactly as he predicted. That same night, Lil Meech finally broke his silence. Sort of. He posted a single story with a quote, "Real always recognizes real." No names, no hashtags, no explanation. But the tone said it all. Fans interpreted it as a shot at Ross, and the internet erupted once again. Within hours, Rick Ross was trending worldwide. Journalists started writing think pieces about loyalty in the music industry, and analysts on entertainment channels debated who was right and who was wrong. The following morning, a new development changed everything. A journalist claimed to have spoken to someone from Meech's inner circle, and according to them, there was way more behind this feud than anyone realized. Apparently, Meech felt Ross had been using his name to promote his own ventures, without properly crediting or compensating him. They said Meech trusted him. He saw him like a mentor, a big brother. But then he started noticing how the money and the narrative were always in Ross's favor. If that was true, it explained the confrontation. Meech wasn't chasing clout. He was confronting what he believed was manipulation. And that made fans rally behind him even harder. Hashtags like Justice for Meech and Ross Betrayal started circulating, turning what began as gossip into a full-blown cultural debate. But Ross's camp wasn't sitting idle either. A close associate of his gave an interview denying everything. He said, "There's no betrayal." Ross gave him opportunities, guidance, and exposure. What more do you want from a mentor? Still, his words didn't hit the way Ross probably hoped. The public was already emotionally invested in the idea of Meech being the underdog, fighting back against someone more powerful. Soon, another twist shook things up. Someone leaked a screenshot allegedly, showing private messages between Ross and another artist, in which Ross supposedly complained about Meech's ego. The authenticity of the messages couldn't be verified, but by then it didn't matter. Perception had already become reality. People were convinced Ross was talking behind Meech's back, and that only fueled the fire. Celebrities started chiming in, some subtly choosing sides. One rapper tweeted, "You can't mentor someone and still compete with them," while another wrote, "Respect to both kings, but real ones know what's going on." The hip-hop community suddenly felt divided. Even radio hosts began discussing it, calling it a generational shift, the student finally standing up to the teacher. As the drama escalated, something unexpected happened. An old interview clip of 50 Cent resurfaced again, where he said, "I tried to tell him, Ross moves like a businessman, not a brother." That line went viral all over again. Fans started editing it into compilations with the leaked confrontation clip and the voice memo, turning it into a mini documentary spreading across TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Ross must have felt the pressure because that night, he finally hinted at speaking out. He posted a video showing himself inside a recording booth, saying sometimes silence is misunderstood, so let's make things clear soon. It wasn't a direct statement, but it was enough to make fans anticipate a full explanation. Blogs started predicting he'd address everything in an interview or even a diss track. Meanwhile, Lil Meech stayed quiet again. Insiders said he wasn't chasing clout, that he just wanted closure. "He doesn't want a feud," one friend said. "He just wants people to know the truth." Still, every silence, every delayed response, every cryptic post added fuel to the mystery. What really shook fans was how the tone of the entire situation shifted. What began as a rumor about business betrayal now started to feel deeply emotional. like a story about trust gone wrong. People started rewatching old videos where Ross and Meech were laughing together, appearing on stage side by side. The more they watched, the more tragic it felt. Comments poured in like, "You could see how much Meech looked up to him," and "Ross lost a real one." Then came the biggest surprise yet. A new report surfaced claiming that 50 Cent had reached out privately to Meech. Nobody knew if it was to offer support or just to stir things further, but fans immediately assumed 50 was playing his usual strategic game. One blogger joked, "If 50 gets involved, just know this drama is far from over." And she wasn't wrong, because shortly after that, 50 posted a new photo captioned, "Should have listened sooner." Again, no names, but everyone connected the dots instantly. The industry was buzzing, everyone waiting for Ross to respond. Some said he'd release a statement. Others predicted a song. Whatever it was, people knew it wouldn't be simple. Ross had too much pride, too much legacy to let someone paint him as a villain without setting the record straight. And with so many eyes watching, whatever he said next could either repair his image or destroy it completely. The tension was almost cinematic. Two powerful figures, once allies, now standing on opposite ends of loyalty and betrayal, while a third, 50 Cent, watched from the sidelines, smirking like a mastermind who had seen it coming all along. Everyone online had their theories, but no one really knew how deep the story went, and the silence that followed only made it louder. The internet was still recovering from the chaos when Ross finally broke his silence, and the way he did it left everyone stunned. It wasn't an interview, not a post, not even a statement through his team. Instead, he dropped a 6-minute video on his social media with the caption, "Truth don't need promotion." The clip opened with Ross sitting in his luxurious backyard, wearing sunglasses, surrounded by expensive cars and a half-empty glass of champagne on the table beside him. His tone was calm but sharp, his words measured but heavy with meaning. "When you give people opportunities," he said, "sometimes they confuse blessings for competition. They think because you showed them love, you owe them loyalty beyond reason. But I don't owe explanations to anyone." That line hit the internet like a shockwave. Within minutes, fans flooded the comments, dissecting every phrase, every pause, every smirk. Some praised him for staying classy, while others accused him of deflecting responsibility. But then Ross dropped a subtle bomb. He said, "I raised a lot of young kings in this game. Some appreciate it. Some forget who showed them the door." He never said Lil Meech's name, but everyone knew exactly who he was referring to. The moment he finished speaking, he stood up, turned his back to the camera, and walked toward his mansion, leaving the sound of distant birds and faint music behind. No outro, no explanations, just pure boss energy. That short clip dominated social media for days. Everyone had an opinion. Some fans sided with Ross, saying Meech was being emotional and ungrateful, while others accused Ross of being manipulative and arrogant. "He didn't deny anything," one fan commented. "He just danced around the truth." Another wrote, "This was his way of saying he's too powerful to care." The division among fans was intense. It felt like two sides of an emotional war. Within hours of Ross's video dropping, Lil Meech responded indirectly again, but this time his tone was different. Instead of cryptic posts, he shared a picture from the set of his new project with the caption, "Real ones keep working." It was calm, composed, and mature, but everyone knew it was aimed at Ross. Fans began calling it the classy clapback. Industry insiders noticed how Meech's response shifted public perception once again. People started saying he looked like the one taking the high road while Ross seemed to be fanning the flames. Still, things didn't stop there. One podcast featuring two close associates of both artists dropped an explosive episode titled "The Real Story Behind Ross and Meech." During the conversation, one of the hosts claimed that Ross's issue wasn't personal, it was business. He alleged that Ross had helped Meech negotiate a major deal, but when things went south, Meech blamed Ross publicly instead of privately. According to them, Ross felt disrespected because Meech didn't call him first. He went straight to the blogs. But what really shook fans was when the other host claimed that Ross had been planning to launch a mentorship program for young artists and actors. and that Meech was supposed to be the face of it. After their fallout, Ross allegedly canceled the entire thing. This revelation made the story even messier, showing how their drama might have cost others big opportunities too. Soon, celebrities began taking sides more openly. One big-name rapper commented under Ross's post, saying, "Boss talk, nothing else." A few hours later, an actress who worked with Meech replied to that comment with, "Real bosses don't shade their own." The subtle online shots continued for days, giving blogs endless material to analyze. It became less about what happened and more about who said what, who liked which post, and who unfollowed whom. Then, another twist hit the internet. A well-known gossip page posted that Meech had been invited to appear on a talk show, supposedly to clear the air. Fans waited anxiously, wondering if he'd finally spill everything. But when the episode aired, Meech handled it with surprising grace. He didn't badmouth Ross. Instead, he said, "Sometimes people you look up to end up teaching you lessons in ways you didn't expect. I'll always respect what he did for me, but I learned to move different now." His composure won hearts instantly. Fans began calling him the bigger man, saying he was showing growth and maturity. But if anyone thought that was the end, they were wrong. Because just days after Meech's interview, 50 Cent jumped in again. This time, more directly than ever. He reposted a clip of Ross's Truth video with the caption, "Man still talking like a landlord. Let the tenants move out already." Fans went wild. Everyone knew 50 couldn't resist adding fuel to a fire involving Ross, and this time he made sure everyone knew he was watching. That post reopened old wounds. Ross and 50's rivalry had been one of hip-hop's most talked-about feuds for years, and seeing 50 indirectly defend Meech made people connect even more dots. They started claiming that 50 had warned Meech long ago about getting too close to Ross, which only strengthened the narrative that 50 was right. And just like that, what had started as a personal dispute turned into a generational drama involving 3 major names in the industry. Ross, not one to back down, made another cryptic post showing his private jet taking off with the caption, "Never argue with passengers when you own the plane." That line immediately went viral. Half of social media applauded it as the ultimate flex, while the other half criticized it as another example of his arrogance. Meech, however, stayed silent this time. It was as if he had decided not to engage anymore, letting the public opinion play out on its own. But even with his silence, fans kept the conversation alive. They began comparing Ross and Meech's journeys, analyzing their mentorship, their interviews, even their past collaborations. People started noticing small things, like how Meech had unfollowed Ross's brand page weeks before the confrontation happened. One comment under an old video said, "The signs were always there. We just missed them." Around this time, a new rumor emerged suggesting that Meech and Ross had actually met privately to discuss their differences. A source claimed they talked for a few hours. No shouting, just 2 men trying to understand each other. But it didn't end the way people hoped. Nobody knew if that was true, but fans desperately wanted to believe that some kind of resolution was possible. Meanwhile, the music industry seemed to take note. Several up-and-coming artists began posting about the importance of contracts, transparency, and communication. In a strange way, this feud had become a cautionary tale, a real-life lesson wrapped in celebrity drama. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. "This ain't just gossip, it's about trust, ego, and power." As days passed, the hype started to mellow, but only slightly. Ross continued living large, posting clips of himself working out, recording, and showing off new ventures. Meech went quiet again, focusing on his acting projects. But every time either of them posted anything remotely emotional or cryptic, fans would flood the comments with theories about whether it was related to the feud. Then something unexpected happened. A short clip surfaced from a behind-the-scenes set where someone asked Meech about Ross. Instead of dodging the question, he smiled and said, "He's a legend. We had our moment. All love." That line instantly softened the tone of the whole narrative. For the first time, it seemed like closure might actually be possible. Still, 50 wasn't done stirring the pot. He commented on a fan post discussing Meech's remark and wrote, "Growth looks good on him. Not everyone can relate. The internet exploded again. Fans debated whether 50 was genuinely complimenting Meech or just throwing another subliminal shot at Ross. The ambiguity only made things juicier. By now, the entire situation had transformed into something bigger than a feud. It had become a cultural phenomenon. People began calling it the silence war because of how much weight every pause, every missing word, every subtle gesture carried. It wasn't just about who was right or wrong anymore. It was about perception, loyalty, and how quickly admiration can turn into disappointment when egos collide. What everyone could agree on, though, was that this story had changed how fans saw both Ross and Meech. One was the established mogul fighting to maintain his throne, and the other, a rising star learning the price of trust in an industry built on power plays. And right in the middle stood 50, smirking, reminding everyone that sometimes the loudest victories come from those who warned you first. As the tension between Lil Meech and Rick Ross hit its breaking point, things took an even more unexpected turn. After the viral confrontation clip hit every gossip blog, Ross's camp went silent for almost 2 days. Fans were confused. Was Ross trying to avoid the issue? Or was he preparing something explosive? That silence only fueled the speculation. People on social media were dissecting every frame of the video, claiming to see pain in Lil Meech's eyes and anger boiling behind Ross's calm expression. It wasn't just a feud anymore. It felt like an emotional collapse for everyone involved. Behind closed doors, those close to Ross revealed that the rapper wasn't handling things as well as he appeared. He was hurt. Hurt that someone he considered family would come at him so publicly. Ross reportedly told a friend, "I gave that boy a platform. I showed him how to move like a boss. Now he out here trying to humiliate me?" That one line became the spark for what was coming next. Meanwhile, Lil Meech wasn't backing down either. Instead of hiding, he doubled down, posting cryptic messages online about loyalty, betrayal, and fake mentorship. His captions read like battle cries, short, sharp, and cold. Fans were divided. Some sided with Meech, saying Ross used his connections to control narratives and benefit himself. Others claimed Meech had become arrogant after fame, forgetting who helped him get there. When Ross finally decided to speak, it wasn't on an interview or through a press release. It was through a surprise Instagram Live that instantly drew over 200K viewers. The screen lit up with Ross sitting in his signature chair, shades on, expression unreadable. He started off slow, his tone calm but heavy. "You ever teach someone how to eat," he said, "and they turn around and bite the hand that fed them?" The chat exploded. Everyone knew who he was talking about. He didn't call Lil Meech out by name, but the message was clear. Ross spoke about loyalty, the meaning of respect, and how the entertainment world was filled with people who only stood by you when it was convenient. "You can't build kings out of boys who don't want to listen," he added. Fans were stunned. The energy was both emotional and intimidating. But just as things seemed to cool, Lil Meech went live later that night, visibly emotional, pacing back and forth in his room. "You ain't teach me how to eat, bro," he said. "You just wanted me to sit at your table while you took all the plates." The internet went wild again. It was no longer about who said what. It was about betrayal, hurt, and a mentor-student relationship falling apart for the whole world to see. Blogs started comparing this fallout to 50 Cent's history with Ross. Old clips resurfaced where 50 had warned about Ross's behavior, claiming he often played people close to him. Those clips gained millions of views overnight. Hashtags like "The 50 was right" and "Nar Meech vs Ross" started trending. Even celebrities began dropping subtle comments, adding gasoline to the fire. Ross's camp tried to do damage control, insisting the whole issue was a misunderstanding. But fans weren't buying it. The comments under every Ross post were filled with people demanding clarity. One person wrote, "How can two men who called each other family end up like this?" Another said, 50 really called it years ago." The narrative was slipping out of Ross's control, and he knew it. Behind the scenes, sources close to both parties claimed mutual friends tried to intervene. One of Ross's old collaborators reportedly reached out to Lil Meech to calm things down, but Meech refused. "It's not about peace right now," he said, according to someone who overheard the call. It's about truth. The call. It's about truth.